Hi, I'm Ren Gender. I'm sorry I can't be there in person, but this is something I wrote in response to Cheryl's death. It's called Artists Will Break Your Heart. Cheryl wasn't just a great writer, she was also a longtime producer of queer literary events. As someone who has spent many years producing queer literary events, I'm telling you, anyone who does this shit does it for love. I don't mean groupies. As I've said elsewhere, poetry won't get you laid. It might get someone else laid, but not you. I also don't mean some sort of new age love for the creative process. The creative process sucks. Furtive scribbling on the bus while evading elbows, odors, and motion sickness. Sneaking out of your own bedroom with your partner asleep so you can sit in a chair and look hard at your computer when all you want to do is go back to bed like a normal person. At the office, developing near 360-degree peripheral vision, so without turning around, you know when someone who gives a shit can see your computer screen, and you casually click away from your own writing to open a spreadsheet. I mean, we have to fall in love, both with the best of our own work and the work of the artists we produce. And artists, especially queer women artists, will break your heart. They end up abandoning the work you love to put their time and effort into their other work, the thing everyone else calls their real job. They settle down, perhaps with a husband, and have children, so they never have time to write anymore the work you loved. You notice that even their Facebook status updates are never about them anymore. They're always about the kids, the husband, or both. They cross the line from fun person at the bar to person who is fucked up all the time. Writing becomes one of the many things they stop doing. They decide their partner is the real artist in the family, as if there were room for only one. They explain that they never spent enough time on the art you loved for it to be better than mediocre. They say that they are now able to fulfill all their artistic needs with knitting and quilting, following a pattern designed by anyone else. They stop writing the work you loved because they never got paid much for it, and whatever affirmation they got from their audiences, readers, friends, and lovers, is never enough to make up the difference. They proclaim that what they're really born to do is not the work you loved, but to act as a writing midwife, a teacher, editor, or arts grant writer, helping others but never getting the full credit and acclaim themselves. They're full of great ideas and supportive hugs for that nifty collaborative project, but when the time came to submit actual writing for it, they ignored all the emails, Facebook missives, and phone calls. Or they blew the project off by submitting late with apologies and blame to bad wireless connections, work that wasn't ready for anyone to read. They write work beneath them because someone, maybe more than one person, said to them about the work you loved that it was too narrow, too specialized, too political to ever find a real following. Meanwhile, Philip Ross, protagonist, stand-in, accuses his mother of turning him into a faggot and jerks off into his catcher's mitt. Jonathan Franzen's protagonist, stand-in, can't believe how incredibly wet he makes his much younger, much more conventionally attractive Latina girlfriend, who also happens to be the maid. We are not supposed to find these scenarios or any of the other plethora in the literary canon too specialized, too narrow, or at all political. But no matter how many times artists break your heart, you still hold out hope. This year will be the one when they will get a divorce. Put down the knitting needles. Decide that out of the effort put into shaping a young child's sense of fairness and proportion, and the effort put into shaping an essay, the latter is easier, quicker, and has more reliable results. Figure out that writing a good paragraph is better than suggesting to a student how to make his, her, or her shitty paragraph better, especially if he, she, or she completely ignores the advice. End up submitting good work for collaborative projects 2 weeks ahead of the deadline. Admit to themselves that their partner's work is good, but not as good as theirs is. Understand that corporate America can go fuck itself and resume writing the work you love. We keep pulling for these artists because they, along with their foibles, are us. We become impatient with them because we've all pulled the same shit they have, or if not, thought about it. And we take heart from the artists who, like Cheryl, seem to not fall into any of the great gaping holes that threaten to swallow us, who keep creating new work, get sober, set up spreadsheets to keep track of their submissions, and keep producing other artists so we might all know and love them. Artists like Cheryl make us think if we just keep writing, submitting, performing, producing, we're bound to get some recognition, sometime, from someone. So we keep up the double, triple, or quadruple shift, and hope to God we're right. I barely knew Cheryl. The main way I remember her was 5 years ago when a mutual poet friend, Lisa King, died. I read what Cheryl had written in her blog about Lisa, and I asked Cheryl to be part of the special memorial for Lisa at the Boston, actually Cambridge bar, where Lisa had often performed. Cheryl took the Chinatown bus from New York City on Memorial Day weekend, no less, and performed this great piece about her partying days with Lisa that really captured Lisa better than anything else I heard that long day. I know from other people's accounts that what Cheryl did then wasn't the only great thing she ever did, but even if it had been, it would have been one more great thing than most people do. And I loved Cheryl's writing. I'm like the guy in the club who's about 6'5" but stands right in the middle of the front row for the whole set with both hands on top of his head while the band plays. Because even if none of his family, none of his co-workers, or certainly no one else in the club understands him, those songs understand him, the way Cheryl's writing understood me. Do I have to say why we mourn the deaths of queer women artists so deeply, why we search and search the names of those we've lost, hoping to find the one video, MP3, poem, or essay from that artist we missed in all the previous searches? Why we now have an irrational resentment of the Cheryl Burke who was on Dancing with the Stars? Because we want to live in a parallel universe where Cheryl, our Cheryl, falls nicely into the 90% recovery rate for her cancer, is currently watching her hair grow slowly back, considering a return to work, and putting together a book proposal for the WTF Cancer Diaries. When Lisa King died, I put out a call to the artists I knew that said we all needed to make sure we preserved our work in permanent, accessible form. I can't think of anyone who actually followed my edict. I didn't even do it. So I want all the queer women artists hearing this, seeing this, to raise their right hands. Yes, I mean you and me. Swear that this year will be your year. The year in which you finally cobble together that 300-page book, fuss over and put into an order that makes sense that 20-track audio release, or send out into the world the 90 minutes of well-edited video of you performing your own work. I think Cheryl would have approved. And we've all had our hearts broken too many times already. Thank you.